Hello and welcome to STEM in Construction. It's for everyone. So my name is Paula, I'm a civil engineer and I'll be joined today by Maria.
My name is Maria and I'm a civil engineer and I live in Dundee, Scotland. I work in the building sector as a package manager for Sir Robert McAlpine.
So that's two of us as civil engineers working for Sir Robert McAlpine. So what we're going to talk about today? Well, I want to tell you that STEM in construction is for everyone. And most people do think that building sites are dirty and hard hats are something that pops into your mind when you think about construction. But I'm going to tell you about a huge range of jobs with and without hard hats. So I'll tell you about the construction industry through the sort of lens of Sir Robert McAlpine. So Sir Robert McAlpine are a family building and civil engineering company, and we have a vision that we're committed to building our engineering and construction heritage, and we do take pride in everything we do. And like many companies that are engineers, with engineers in, that they contribute to society in very many ways because we build what people need and what people want. So a little bit about Sir Robert McAlpine.
What does it take to build Britain's future heritage? We've been building for nearly 150 years, continually innovating, developing and evolving. We never stand still, creating some of the world's most iconic structures that will leave a lasting legacy. Delivering projects big and small, safely and efficiently. Minimising our impact on the environment. Improving the way businesses and people interact. Supporting communities to develop. And inspiring future generations. Here, every single person and their expertise counts, working together to succeed. We are Sir Robert McAlpine, and we are proudly building Britain's future heritage.
So just from that very short clip you can see a massive range of work that happens from just one company. So engineers and the construction industry impact upon all of our lives. So thinking about whether it's engineering or construction itself, generally every project is split into three main phases. So the first phase is the design phase, and that's where people get ideas and then they put it down onto paper. And the ideas include drawings, include written specifications and other things. And that's needed so we can pass it over, because obviously everything that needs to be done in very large teams, and we need to work together and we need to all work to the same information. Then obviously there's the build phase, and that's what Sir Robert McAlpine are most famous for, because we're a contractor in the main. But we also do some maintenance work as well, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. But every project, remember, and every building, every road, everything needs to be maintained in the long term. So thinking about the design, this is from our website. This is our design group, and you can see we've got in-house capability that we believe is second to none, and many of the contractors work with and have the support of engineers in the design office, and they help with temporary works, they help with construction support, they help when things change, which is inevitable. Let's look at some of the things that we build through our projects. We've got a variety of projects: hospitals, places to live, places to be entertained, places where people work and go shopping. But let's have a closer look at the Royal Albert Hall. So we worked behind the scenes on this project, and it was a historic building, so we had to be very careful on what we did. There's sound on the roof and there's pipes underneath, and we're going to have a look now at a timeline, and you'll see from that timeline that there are things called permanent works. They're the things that get left at the end of the day, and there's also things called temporary works. They're the things that's there only part-time and are there to help the construction. And this is where the design group and the construction team work very closely together, because it's obviously safer and more economic to work while you're working on a desk and on a computer than it is working in real life. So let's have a look at this project now in more detail, and you'll see what I mean about some of the temporary works, which in that photo is the very big pipe looking structure going through the middle. So from that one single project, you can see how the computer work in the office interacts with real life and how we can practice things before we actually do them in reality. And you can see what a small site it was and how neat and tidy it needed to be, because we couldn't have things just lying all over. So let's have a think about what Maria thinks about working in the construction industry.
A normal day for me is mainly management based. I also do setting out and quality checks. I host coordination meetings with the different trades on site to make sure there aren't going to be any health and safety issues. We also prioritise works for the programme, look ahead for any potential issues or delays and try to mitigate them where possible. We also get feedback from the teams. I do think my job is exciting, and there are always new challenges and puzzles to crack, and when you solve them by yourself or as a team, that's my favourite feeling. Engineering is so versatile. I don't know what I'm looking forward to most in the future, but I know that a lot of doors are open to me, and I like knowing that I'm not tied to the same job, that if I change, my career can change with me.
So now on to the third sort of part of the puzzle. So things that get designed and then they get built and then they need to be maintained, they need to be looked after. So Sir Robert McAlpine have a project that I work on, looking after the A19, and there's more to even looking after one road than you might think. So there's improvement works that we do all the time. So there's things like high masts that we put in with LED lights to become more sustainable and use less electricity. There's obviously resurfacing works, so when there's holes in the road they get fixed by putting down, taking off the old layers and putting down new layers. There's also structures to look after, bridges and walls and culverts and underpasses, some that you don't even know you're driving over. All of them need to be inspected and looked after and maintained. And then there's the verges at the side of the road with lots of wildlife, and it's not just about cutting grass, it's also about looking at the balance of wildlife. And we actually have areas on what we call our network at the side of the A19 where we actually allow some areas to grow a little bit more wild, so the special butterflies and flowers can grow. So who out of our Sir Robert McAlpine colleagues who all work in construction wears a hard hat? Can you guess before they tell you? Megan.
Hi, my name is Megan. I work in construction as an engineer and I wear a hard hat.
Not unsurprised, because you were also wearing high visibility clothing and boots that are a little bit mucky, so I would suspect that you go out on site quite a bit. Lucy.
Hi, my name's Lucy. I work in construction as an office manager and I do not wear a hard hat.
Again, not surprising, as an office manager you wouldn't expect to need to leave the office really, so Lucy doesn't wear a hard hat. Richard.
Hi, my name's Richard. I work in construction as a design manager and I wear a hard hat.
Oh, that was a hard call. Depending on what job you're on, Richard may actually be at his desk all the time, or if he's site-based, he may go out and wear a hard hat on the days he needs to actually do measurements or other things on site. And last but not least, Maria.
I wear a hard hat every day and I love it.
That's brilliant. Those like myself who wear hard hats often do love it, and I used to wear a hard hat all the time and now I don't wear any at all. So the other question we said we would answer is, are construction sites dirty? Well, they obviously are a little bit some of the time, and you could see on Megan's boots in the earlier slide that she had a little bit of mud on her shoes. However, that tends to be only in certain phases of the job. You can see two jobs Sir Robert McAlpine have done here, the Olympic Stadium and refurbishing Wimbledon's #1 court and putting on a retractable roof. Most of that work would have been done in a very clean environment, because we obviously don't want to damage what we're building. So when you're outside of the ground, the sites are quite clean. So let's have a look at one of our sites, the Wimbledon site where a retractable roof's going on, and we'll hear from Laura about her experience. And if you look behind, you'll see how neat and tidy the site is, and that's mainly as well as being to obviously not damage anything, for safety reasons, so nobody gets hurt and nobody has anything to trip over. Let's hear from Laura.
At Court 1 Wimbledon, we're putting a new retractable roof on the existing Court 1. This also includes extending all the slabs on the lower side of the building and creating new hospitality areas and food courts. My role on the project involves all of the works above level 40, which are plant areas, and the main element being the retractable roof itself and the cladding associated with it. A lot of preparation has gone into this project, from the large crane that we had to lift up the roof trusses. We needed to erect a large 600-ton crane. This is over a suspended slab, so it involved numerous temporary works on the floors below, relocating of the client's sprinkler tank. The truss lifts were a great success. We did a lot of work with all the subcontractors involved in the years preceding the actual lifts themselves. We had checklists in place to make sure it could be carried out safely. We had weather watches to make sure that we were within weather windows, because there are very strict criteria for lifting up the trusses. We had road closures, and the whole team were involved in making sure exclusion zones were adhered to. I started work with Sir Robert McAlpine as a student during university. I was a sponsor student for my final 3 years, and then when I graduated I got a job in the London region and have been here ever since. It's great working on an iconic project. When you tell people about where you work, they're always interested and always wanting to know a bit more. This project has been very challenging from a technical perspective. It's improved my technical knowledge of steelwork and movements, and just really tough logistical challenges.
So let's finish with some final words from Maria, who will tell you about what she feels about the construction industry.
I now have a master's degree in civil engineering, design and management. The journey to get here has at times been challenging, but I'd give it a 10 out of 10 star review.
That word challenging's come up a few times, and yes, the construction industry is challenging, but in a way that people tend to feel empowered and that they feel proud that of what they've achieved. So I think I have shown you that engineering, and in particular construction, is totally STEMtastic and totally a great career. So a few words about construction. It's interesting, it's only dirty sometimes. Even though many people do wear hard hats, it's tend to think that it's fun. There's lots and lots of variety in the construction sector, and there's lots of different things that can be built. It's for absolutely everybody, and it's definitely needed for the future. So thank you for listening. If you wish to have any questions answered, I am closing out STEMtastic on Friday at 2:45. So thank you very much for listening.